TA on Dusk? Yeah, I can do some TA on Dusk. I'll do some Dusk TA. Let me bring up Dusk quickly. I don't think I have a Dusk chart. I don't. I don't think Binance is probably the right thing to look at here. Maybe it is. Yeah, I think it's a pretty new coin, right? 2019. I'm on the weekly chart. So look, we'll go on the daily chart for Dusk. It looks like a strong uptrend, which is great. Yeah, okay. So Dusk is one of these coins here that a lot of people would think look great, and one of those reasons being is because, well, just looking at it logically, right? It's done pretty well in the wake of the Bitcoin correction. Let me get some water. It's done pretty well in the wake of the Bitcoin correction. In kind of January, it kind of topped out in January. And so you'll know that Bitcoin actually topped out in November. And so for Dusk to come up here all the way until January, November, the Bitcoin top came up for Dusk, well, probably around 32 cents. This thing pumped all the way up, probably a 3x away from that point, even more. And so it's easy to understand why people think that, hey, Dusk is, amazing, and it's when, let's look at a TA here and let's constantly getting back into Dusk, because it's gone up in a downwards trend, which is great, but it doesn't mean to continue to do so. And what I'm seeing for Dusk quite clearly here is this area here being the major support block, and that's between around 40 cents and between around 48 cents, right? That is the major support block for Dusk that I'm seeing. Now, what I am also seeing, which is incredibly bearish, is a long-term or a massive bearish divergence on Dusk coming all the way back here to November 2021, which you will know as the Bitcoin top. So although Dusk was having this clear upwards trend, and this is my first time looking at Dusk for a long time, although Dusk was having this clear upwards trend, it was pretty clear that it should have actually topped out with Bitcoin, and it was seeing this due to irrational retail interest in the coin. So we've had this bearish divergence, which suggests that, hey, this uptrend is unsustainable. If we looked at the volume, we see that we have, wow, massively descending volume since December, right? Just straight down in this longer term upwards trend, which is another bearish sign telling us that, hey, this move was very much triggered or very much sustained by irrational retail buyers rather than actual sustained retail investors. So there's a difference between a buyer and an investor. A buyer is looking for a quick flip of the coin, a quick trade. An investor is looking for the long term, right? And when you see an abundance of investors, you don't see something like this happen where you see a massive bearish divergence, right? You see long-term sustained growth. And that's not what's happening here on Dusk. Now, Ikomoku Cloud, we've lost it 50 and 200 day. We've rejected off the 50 day on 3 separate occasions here. It doesn't look good. We're going to come down and test this red support box here. I'll make it green so it's a lot easier to see. Going to come down and test that. We'll probably see a reaction off of that. However, we have already seen a reaction off of that in the last few candles. And so it is a potential we do something like that. But what I'm seeing here on Dusk is a longer term M formation with bearish divergence, very bearish. And if we do see a reaction off this, I'll see actually probably a head and shoulders formation like that. Okay, so I don't think Dusk looks good. It goes into the fact that I don't think many altcoins look good, but particularly this one, because it hasn't retraced as much as we would like to see in a coin this late in the cycle.